Greetings, fellow blah, blah, blah. Take two. Greetings, fellow armchair Imagineers. Tiki here, and this can't be it. This can't be it. Damn it, this can't be it. Come on, HBO. Tiki here.
And Blue Dragon 5.
And welcome to the Infinity Train, Book 4. SpoilerCast, this can't be it. Dragon, I've been chomping at the bits about this all day. I want to start by saying I don't think Book 4 is a bad season by any stretch. I think it's perfectly well done. I think the themes are there. The themes are relatable. You know, as someone who's just entering my 30s and still feels like a man-child, I did definitely relate to it. But Dragon, my God, this I don't even want to say it's a downgrade, but it's so much less rich than the other seasons. And I'm sorry, buddy. This is just a bit of a rant, all right? You're going to have to let me just vent for a second here.
Well, you already steamed over me in the intro. You might as well just keep on going.
This would have been a perfect season if it was the halfway point. If this was book 4 out of 8. It honestly would have been a perfect season. Because it's coming down from legitimately one of the most emotionally intense seasons of television I've ever experienced, animated or otherwise, with book 3. Like, book 3 was just heavy metal emotionally. Like, it drained me. It ripped my soul in half.
And this was acoustic.
Indeed. And I think it'd be perfect if there was more to come. But Dragon, like, until we know I gotta hold out hope that there's more to come. Because until we know for sure, until HBO, like, gets their heads out of their asses, or Netflix picks the show up, or something happens, Dragon, I'm gonna be pounding my fist. This ending is, like, it's not ridiculous in the sense that emotionally it's satisfying for the arc of the season, but if this is it, then it really is ridiculous, and one of the most stupid cancellations ever, I think. I'm emotional about this, man. Like I said, I do think it's a shame because I do relate to the characters here, and and I do think that if this is the last book, then people are gonna kind of like look down on this story more than they should when it is a legitimately good story. It's just not the end game. Oh, God, Dragon, what do you think?
All right, so book 4. I gotta be honest, I was considering, this has pretty much been sold as, and so far just kind of confirmed as, the, sad to say, final installment. A little let down by it as a final installment, if you look at it within those parameters. It's not a bad seasonal. Let me put it this way. My feelings very, very, very straightforwardly are, it's not bad, but inferior to the past 3 seasons, I think, unequivocally. I could feel that while I was watching it. I was hoping, I don't know, maybe it's just because it's been a while, but no, it was truly, it's like, it's not bad. There's compelling, let me put it this way. I respect the ambition of the season. I really do. I respect the ambition, and, clearly, not a final season vibe. This was not like they were building to this as the big cap, clearly. I mean, so I can't hold that against it. But, it's harsh as it sounds. Book 4 ultimately, and through no fault of its own, it kind of rests on the laurels of Season 3, which, given the circumstance, I think really hurt it in the end. It's a more intimate exploration of character, which I appreciate, but I don't think the pacing and the structure necessarily supports the story enough. It's there, but I don't think it supports it strongly enough as like a masterwork like Season 3, or like as compellingly as Season 2 or 1, for example.
Yeah.
There's honestly simply Tiki. It doesn't have enough time to really kind of land the points where they need to be. Like, the stuff's there, the skeleton's there. It's just not quite singing the way it should. The music's not quite jiving the way it should. It's not jamming.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely, I feel like, to me, there's one standout episode, and I'd be shocked if you and I don't have the same favorite episode. I really do feel like there's one episode in here in particular that kind of goes above and beyond all the others. But yeah, I'm with you in terms of, like, with the other seasons, like maybe by episode 3, I'd be hooked. By, book 3, I was instantly hooked. I mean, I can't emphasize enough how much of a fan of book 3 I am. I legitimately think, like, I used to think that Over the Garden Wall was, like, the best season of animation ever. And honestly, book 3 gives it a run for its money. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. But let's just get into it, Triton. Anything else you want to say?
No, not really. Just again, it was kind of again, you just kind of felt it in your bones. Like, what point did you kind of feel like, oh man, this isn't quite. This
well,
isn't
I tell you, that's an interesting question because I do feel like, you know what? I got to be honest with you. It was pretty quickly. I do think that there was a promising episode early on, but let's just get into it. And I'll tell you
fair
the
point.
moment.
Yeah, let's do it, man. Let's do it.
Okay, so episode 1, the Twin Tapes, which is honestly my second favorite episode.
I think this episode turned out possibly one of the best of the seasons in terms of like structurally and writing wise. I think this is a great setup episode. This is where I wish the rest of the season was like this, and that we turned a lot of the stuff we've seen the past 3 seasons on its head with episode 1. I really like that.
Where we have like 90% of it is like real world stuff.
Yeah, I mean, think about it, Tiki. This is the most pre-trained prologue stuff that we've done, and also big thing. I don't know if you caught it because you kind of did it all in kind of the one shot. We did the traditional flashback, tape episode right up front. That's how we structured this thing. We use the tape, so that's how we get our kind of our pre-trained kind of link up stuff. It's all through, hence the title, the Twin Tapes. Like we're seeing
now. I do think that makes for a good start.
Yeah.
I mean, I do miss, like, I do feel like those episodes were kind of there structurally for a reason. Like, I feel like they kind of like there's a build to revealing more about your characters that's kind of lost this season.
I mean, I like the refreshing choice to change it up for a season. I mean, you're right though. I wouldn't take away those episodes for all it's salt. Because especially season 1 had like a tremendous use of that. But yeah, when we pull the past, we pull the past big time.
Right.
I'm saying structurally, it was kind of an interesting way to kind of like
I mean, I do really like. I do feel like the dueling montage of after they go their separate ways. That was legitimately one of the best sequences of the season.
Of course, you and I'm sure we're thinking of probably the best use of that sort of device ever with Something Stupid from Better Call Saul.
Sure.
Using the old Something Stupid montage with a split screen. I love at the end I love the link up at the end of the split screen where literally they kind of link up to the exact same moment they walk through. Just walk through like little divider.
I guess we should just get the ball rolling on talking about our 2 leads. Do you want to take the lead on that?
Yeah, sure. So we have our leads this time around, again, leads plural. I mean, to be fair, we always do after season 1, we kind of started pairing people up, which, it's a good call.
Well, I mean, I would even argue with season 1 that the co-lead was 1-1.
That's okay, fair. Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah, no, that's a good point. Yeah. So yes, in that regard, so this time around we have 2, but we're starting with 2 from the get-go instead of like just meeting people on the train. That's a big kind of change there. So we have 2 Asian Canadian boys. By the names.
The Asian Canadians gave me a Scott Pilgrim vibe, but I do like the Asian representation here. I did think that was a strong point in the season.
Yeah, that was cool. So we have Mingy and Ryan.
Mm-hmm.
So these 2 basically they dream of being rock stars at an early age. Pretty much they've been friends since birth, technically. They've been friends since they were like in the incubators together, practically like little bins. So like I love their there was a really telling scene I think set the tone for the season. It was kind of like a make or break tone setting moment where we see in the early kind of tapes that they are as kids they're performing in front of their families. They're performing dress my cat in a toque.
That song was such a realistically bad song that a little kid would write.
And that's the thing. I love it was cringy to drive home the riff that the seeds are planted for where the riff is. Where one of them is waking up to the fact that, what, maybe this isn't the best. Maybe this won't work out. Maybe something's a little off here. Maybe we should polish our game or maybe kind of craft a better plan here before we go go full tilt with things, and of course, then we go to the battle of the bands of it all with the whole chicken choice Judy. What do you?
And I will say right now, that Battle of the Bands thing, it is a good dilemma to hang a character arc on, Dragon.
Yes.
I do think legitimately it is a super fucking relatable thing.
Honestly, you'll hear no real complaints from me with episode 1 compared to the other stuff we're going to talk about. I mean, stuff like again. By the way, what do you? You're more the rocker amongst us. What do you think of Chicken Choice Judy as a band name?
I don't like it, honestly. It's very vague. It totally just. I mean, there are band names. A lot of good band names come from inside jokes, like Green Day, for example. Green Day was literally just them sitting around getting stoned, like, "Hey, it's a Green Day, man." I'm not kidding. That's literally how Green Day came about. But,
you know, when I hear like if someone's coming up with the origins of Green Day, you know, my mind just cooked up. Just cooked up. You know what? Maybe it was on St. Patrick's Day.
I love that. That's so charmingly innocent, Dragon. Never change. Anyways.
Okay, so then we have, importantly, we set up the gesture with the shirt where Mingji here, Mingy, he crafts the little T-shirt to kind of bend to his partner here, like, "Hey, Chicken Choice Judy, you got your band name. What do you think?" So we'll show support there. But so Ryan, very committed, very full force to the dream and taking the risk. Risk being the operative word. Just giving
these two represent like the two different sides of my thoughts on being a YouTuber, Dragon. I swear to fucking Christ.
I knew it was gonna get you. I knew it was gonna get you.
It did. Like,
it wasn't crazy with that, right?
No, not at all. You know, obviously, like, I wish there was more compelling stuff going on in the train itself, but I do think this is, like, the first season where the human drama really does kind of, like, outweigh the actual train stuff in some regards.
Certainly. But the important thing with this big Battle of the Bands moment is, he's, Ryan, again, God bless him for being ambitious, but he is throwing a lot at Mingy here. And it's just like a lot of like, we're going to do this. And before they've even performed for the first time in front of a crowd, which that's a lot, leads to the fear and abandonment, which again, absolutely causes our something stupid montage. So,
sure.
Let's see. So, I think the big unifying theme, the big kind of unifying moment of the goal of this book, the goal of this book is our characters are split yet unified in their arcs. Their whole thing, and we very much visualize with that montage that these two guys, even though they've went their separate ways, they are very much kind of linked together, hence the dual number thing. It's why they have the same number. They have to arrive to the same conclusion together, otherwise, as 1-1 puts it, which is another thing we should talk about big time here. So this, technically, as far as I'm concerned, this is set before book 1.
Which is another reason why this shouldn't be a final season.
It's an interesting idea because initially I thought it might be kind of set afterwards, but I was wrong about it. They had the uniforms left over. That's what Amelia's wearing. The whole uniform thing threw me off. But so we see young Amelia here. I'll admit, here's the hanging Chad that bothers me. Okay, the hanging Chad that Amelia. The assumption I had was that Amelia worked her way to the conductor, and then she kind of hijacked it from there. But apparently, 1-1 took her under as like an apprentice or something. I don't know how that happened.
Well, I guess we'll never know. Thanks, HBO Max.
Sadly, but
I'm not bitter, Dragon. I'm not bitter.
But it's interesting though. We see 1-1 before he himself, and again, just given the context of the season, before 1-1 himself is quite bifurcated, the happy, sad personalities. And 1-1's very much like he's in the Stuart body, which is a really cool thing. Because think about it, that Stuart body always had like an opening in the face hole. Now we know why. Mm-hmm. And so he just kind of linked them together for like the probability. Essentially, it's almost like the 1 in 14 million realities in which this works. They have to be paired together for their arc to take.
And I'm going to say this right now. Just this is kind of like a thesis moving forward for the season. I feel like the idea of someone's numbers being linked together is an intriguing premise that they do next to nothing with in terms of the actual like real building of the train itself.
The only. Sorry.
Go ahead.
The only thing that we mine from that is that you're right. We kind of drop it off. We bring up intriguingly in an episode, like, "Hey, wait a minute," and then we have nothing with it. The only reason we have it is that we need so this character could go home, but he's not. And this character good home, but he's not. Like the little seesaw effect.
It's literally like a one dramat, yeah, and
the plot device.
That's also going to bring up another thing for me. That's a major flaw with this season, Dragon. I frankly think the number system this season is kind of broken.
It's a little more pointless than it usually is,
and that to me is
arbitrary. Probably being the better.
I mean, it's kind of a big deal to me, Dragon. Like, I make the comparison where it almost kind of feels like a cheat, the same way that, you know, God knows we're not Game of Thrones fans, but just roll with me on this. The same way, like, have you ever heard the complaint from Game of Thrones fans where, like, later seasons they kind of like have like they'll just automatically go to destinations that took them a whole season to get to in earlier seasons?
I get nothing. No.
All right. Well, just imagine it. But I don't know. I get that. Like, it just feels. The numbers just don't feel like they have a lot of weight. And that let's just get right into the next episode. Unless you have anything else.
Something we should mention is broadly for all of these. Then this will kind of help us transition into everything. So we're at Dumpty's diner, so the Humpty Dumpty diner, which again, as I mentioned, with the whole link up, which is really cool. He has like the keys to the kingdom, literally, with these like the keys to the shop. So I think the humor is really light this season compared to what it's been. Now 3 was awfully dramatic, so I'm not necessarily like dinging it for that, but it's something to notice. Where it's like I think the entertainment value, like there's no Atticus this season. That we've kind of getting away from that, so we're kind of lacking like our 1-1 comedy. It's like,
I mean, it's funny that you mention it because it's like the comedy is not really there, but the drama isn't really there either. I'm kind of just left in this state of like, all right, that was the interesting concept, I guess.
Yeah. How do you feel about the big inciting incident with the keys? Then we'll move on. How do you feel about the whole thing? You literally just Ryan takes the keys and he runs.
I mean, I do like it. I do like. I think that scene has a lot of urgency to it. It's a cool way to get on the train.
It's a bit of a buy, though, that he would be able to run all the way to a train.
Yeah, whatever. It's not the biggest buy this season.
I mean, you're right. It's no like giant baby characters, but we'll get there.
I have a feeling that might be a big dividing point for the two.
We'll see. We'll see. But, so episode 1, I think, very strong story-wise compared to where we're going to go. Ipso facto, let's go there.
All right, episode 2, the Iceberg car. Dragon, you mentioned to me what the moment was when I realized, this might not be up to snuff. It's the introduction of our little Belle character, Dragon.
Oh, Kez, you weren't a fan of Kez. Like everyone else this season, you weren't a fan of Kez.
She grew on me. When I realized that, oh, really? This is the like the train inhabitant that we're going to be going along with.
Yeah, the Knoll this season.
Yeah, Dragon. I mean, again, it's very much a book 3 in comparison thing because the Knolls in book 3 were very incredible and they ripped my soul in half.
Yep, like Tuba, man.
Tuba and Hazel are genuinely like, I still think about that. Like it as a 30-year-old man that still got to me, Dragon. So yeah, I don't know, man. With Kez, I just think like I like her character, I like her voice actress a lot, I like her personality. Ultimately, I do think that the story that they give her is interesting, but there was never the weight with her that I felt with some of the other, train inhabitants.
Kez is basically the main comedy we have through the season, by the way.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, Kez for sure, Kez the floating bell. Certainly.
And it's funny, I just want to get this out there right off the bat. So Lindsay Katai is one of the main writers on this show, Dragon. And did you know that she is married to one of the hosts of podcast The Ride?
Really?
Yeah. So she's actually married to the one that the Mike Carlson.
Oh.
Yeah. But yeah, so I've heard her on podcasts before, and Dragon, I'll say this, Kess is it feels very much like a Lindsay Katai, not in a bad way, all right? Not in a bad way, but it feels very much like a Lindsay Katai self-insert in a lot of ways. Like minus the over the top kind of like compulsive lying and stuff. It's just her general speaking patterns and stuff are very Lindsay Katai.
Right. Here's the thing with Kez. I think Kez is definitely probably the most polarizing null that we've ever had. In that either she works or she doesn't. In that there's a dry humor that can be funny for sure. I think funnier probably up front than it kind of gets later. It's like I like her giving the explanation. She's not good at it, like giving the explanation of what people are doing on the train.
I mean, that's the thing, though, Dragon. I do feel like that kind of humor does generally get old. Like I said, when I realized that was sort of like the character that we were going to be, it almost kind of reminds me of Raya and the Last Dragon, of Shisu, where it's like not really a bad character on execution, but certainly not the deepest character,
I mean, for me, Kez is at her best with like the random humor and calling out the arc of the boys. That's when Kez works as a character for me, because Kez is like, okay, through kind of her vein of like communicating with the world, she's pointing out like, oh, you guys must be enemies. No, we're not enemies, we're friends. And of course, like, oh, are you friends though? Are you? So it's kind of like spelling it out without spelling it out at all. It's like a natural way of bringing up the kind of the plot through this character. So that's where Kez works in the story for me. But when we get to the next episode, I'm going to tell you where Kez breaks down for what the big problem with Kez is for the season. I think hurts the season overall story-wise.
As far as the cars go, Dragon, I mean, generally speaking, I think this season does have a pretty decent collection of cars. As far as the creativity goes, and like I said, I feel like the pig baby is going to be like a big dividing point between us. We'll get there when we get there.
We'll get there.
The Iceberg car to me felt like a very boring. Like I barely remember what happens in this car, if I'm being honest.
Well, this one we have like the era kind of stat, like the whole thermostat era thing. I think it's called the Eon Oscillator. I mean, I'm a sci-fi gadget guy. I like the whole I love the idea it was built into a vending machine for some reason. It was just ridiculous. Like shifts time and everything. I love the big takeaway I had with the episode is that we call out Kez like brings up, you guys didn't work together to figure this out. You fought over the device, and he just lucked out. And that clearly, why? If you put the thing in the middle, then of course you're going to be fine. You keep going one way or the other way, it's going to be all over like the thing. And we have like these aliens, and I think we did get some humor in episode 2 as well. We had like the we have the aliens in parkas who were in parkas because they were going to go on a ski trip. That's pretty funny, I got to admit. Yeah. But again, the stuff that's built into the cars is funny. I think that's really
the humor's on point. Like I said, I just don't think the actual concept for the car is very creative. And honestly, I don't really like the iceberg and the aliens don't really mix well for me. Like, I didn't really get what the two had to do with each other.
Well, it's the fact it's not supposed to be an iceberg, Tiki. It's just it's supposed to be like the regular like place with a vending machine, and then it got turned into like an ice age to the Cretaceous age to like the age with lava.
That's fair enough.
In the future and stuff like that. Oh, with the future though, I love the whole when they turns like the floating eyeballs, the one true thought, and Kez is asking, "Hey, can I chew gum?" Yes. What flavor should I get? Grape. Okay.
I approve of that flavor choice.
It's pretty funny. All right, so then we set up the whole Morgan goal. Like, hey, let's chill out at my place.
Morgan is legitimately a good mystery dragon. That was one of the few actual hooks I had for this season.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so then we get to episode 3, which is where I think the problems start a little bit.
Okay. Well, first of all, I do think that I'm not a big fan of how we have this whole thing where for the first half of the season we kind of just like build like a Blues Brothers style angry mob, I don't think that, especially compared to the drama that we had in book 3, it doesn't really hold a lot of weight for me.
I mean, I don't necessarily. I'm kind of intrigued by that because I like the idea that there's consequences for these car, all these car incursions. Where it's like, some of them might not be happy with how the passengers escape. Some of them might have a bit of a grudge.
Yeah.
So speaking of which, so here's the problem. Okay, so one I will say though, I do love the Old West saying. Like, I don't know why, just the bugs in the Old West is kind of a neat idea. Like the fact instead of guns they have like bug spray. I think think it's really funny.
This episode did kind of prey on my giant insect fear a little bit, I will admit.
Okay, but here's the
I don't like anything with more than 4 legs, Dragon.
God. All right, so we use episode 2 to tee up. We used this episode to tee up Kez, and we tee her up as a bit of an outlaw, Cactus Kez, all that sort of stuff, and she has a reputation, basically a negative reputation. Everyone has a grudge. No one likes this little belle. And the problem I have, and this is where Kez kind of breaks the season for me, is that this kind of takes away from the self-discovery aspect of the show a little bit, where we make Kez, Kez is less, she's less complimentary. She's a
little bit of an exposition machine.
I mean, pretty much, like, she's the occasion for story when it should be the passengers. Passengers aren't, figuring things out for themselves. Like, think about it. Alan Dracula, he assisted the story. Obviously, 1-1, it was a mystery, but you have, like, Atticus. Atticus was a fun companion.
I mean, as I'm thinking about it right now, it's like, oh, God, the more I think about it, the angrier I get, Dragon, honestly. It's like, so, book 3... we have like this whole like giant role reversal where it's like, the gang has like numbers all over their body and it's like a big moral conflict. Book 4, literally the whole goal, it's like a road trip. It's like we got to go to someone's house and chill, and that's like the end goal.
Well, pretty much.
Like I said, I don't blame the show because I know for a fact they had 4 more seasons. And this was supposed to be a cool down season. I know I sound like a broken record, but all right.
But you see what I mean, though. It's like she's less like a companion or just kind of something complementary to the plot. She's driving the story points, which is kind of a problem when we invest so much time in the other guys.
I do think that there is some intrigue with her past, but and I do kind of like the payoff, but I don't think it hits as well as it should.
I agree with that. We'll get into the reasons why
as
it comes forth. But that, I don't know. It's just like we usually learn more about these. Like Hazel, for example, is an excellent example of those characters are we're learning about them on the way, and they reflect something in our
Hazel
characters.
And Tuba, like they leapt off the screen as soon as they came into the picture.
Like Tuba had gobs of intrigue that then got even more intriguing once we got to the second half of the season, even when Tuba wasn't as featured, let's say.
God.
But you see what I mean, though, where again, like that's like those characters that reflect, they assist the story in a major way. Where in this case, okay, so Kez really is the story, and our guys are tagging along, and basically we reverse the roles a little too much in that regard.
I hear you.
So here's another wasted thing. It sounds like we're bagging on the season, but again, there are good elements. But
I mean, like I said, Dragon, I do think that at the end of the day, I can't be too upset at this season because I feel like as a come down from breaking my soul in half with season 3, this works.
Yeah.
But
So the cat. So the cat returns.
Yeah. And she does practically nothing except sell our characters out.
Yep, then she somewhat buys
she was
it back.
I'm broken record, but she was super intriguing in book 3, and here we just get kind of...
Yeah, this was a stock use of the cat. Versus,
very much so.
Think about it. The other 3 seasons, when the cat shows up, there's a gravitas.
I've got to be honest with you, part of me would almost prefer if she just didn't show up this season.
I mean, plus she teed up the whole number thing you alluded to earlier. The whole like, oh man, linked, you buy one get one free. That's something worth protecting. Well, apparently not.
Exactly.
Usually, every time we've used the cat, usually there's been like a payoff. Something majorly gets teed up, like the apex, or she comes back.
This literally just feels like, oh, I guess we have to write the cat in there somewhere. Okay.
Because we got to, but it's still like, I mean, look, like season 2, it's like the cat has a big role, even though it's 1 episode. But, because we tee up the apex through the cat story. But, and also it's really weird, though. I love that she runs like a tea saloon. The tea saloon's awesome. It's Tiki. It's literally Howard Hamlin's Westworld.
Oh,
It's his dream come true.
God. Oh, God.
Howard Hamlin's version of Westworld.
Okay, no. So we got Howard Hamlin, and then we've also got Kevin Wachtel Dragon because of the cowboy angle.
Yep.
They go into business.
It's their
together.
summer getaway. It's their Westworld. They pay through the nose to go here to drink their tea, and there's a golf course in back, but a Western golf course.
Oh my God!
With spurs instead of golf cleats, or boots with cleats at the bottom. I know something. Anyway, also I think the flirting with the cat was really weird.
Oh, wholeheartedly agree. that was an element that did not need to be there.
Yeah, one of the old mainstays in voice work came back here. We got the good old Margaret Martindale.
Oh yeah.
Well, she was fun coming in as the larva sheriff, then transitioned to Judge Morpho. The butterfly.
That butterfly. Like I've never not since the days of Wormy have I seen a creepier butterfly dragon.
Oh come on, Wormy is infinitely more creepy than Judge Morpho.
I mean, yes, but
that thing really disturbed me. That really disturbed me when I was watching SpongeBob. By the way, that Wormy thing, like, oh God, it's so unnatural. A compound bug guy's freaking me out. Get it away!
I still think it's unnatural, though. I still think the design itself is. I don't know. It's a little uncanny.
The judge is wearing an old Western judge's hat.
All right. Anyways,
I like the stovepipe hat. Anyway, so. Okay, let's see. So anyway, so this is so we have the Morgan misdirect here. So when she's in the Hooskow, we have this little photo of like her and a guy. It seems like it must be Morgan.
Mm-hmm.
Is it? But we'll get there. Anyways, let's see. So go on. What else? We have the Fryham thing. Oh God, I love the method of execution. So we put our guys on trial here, and like classic kind of Western, almost like a hang jury, pretty much, almost like a hang 'em high trial from the old West. Boys don't fare so well. Ryan tries the old "I'm a simple man," the old sad legal defense of "I'm a simple man." Never works unless you're Atticus Finch. But I love the electric chair equivalent, the whole the bug zapper thing. The bug zapper equivalent to the electric chair. It's a genius idea for a bug version of the old West.
Right. Okay. All right. So let's move on to. Oh, this is gonna divide us, Dragon. I just know it. Episode 4, the pig baby car.
So this, I think, is the weirdest episode of the bunch. It's very Miyazaki-esque, It's very...
Yes, it is. I don't know. You might not hate it as much as I think you do. Yeah, it's very Miyazaki-esque, which is what I loved about it. Dragon, honestly, out of all the cars this season, this is my favorite car. I just think the concept of this car is just fucking bananas.
I mean, it is, but it's...
The episode itself is kind of take it or leave it. I'll admit that.
Tiki, if not for one major story point, I would say the episode is pointless. I gotta be honest.
I hear you. I totally hear you. But I do feel like this is one of those times where it's like with Infinity Train, I feel like this is a series that runs on its premise as much as its story. And so by that means, it's a pretty damn good premise.
Of course, we should shout out the voice of the giant pig baby.
Oh, please do.
J.K. Simmons.
Oh God, that's just I had no idea.
It is.
I genuinely had no idea.
I swear to you, even before I looked it up, I knew that was J.K. Simmons. That has to be because, of course, recently I've been listening to a lot of J.K. Simmons voice work with the Invincible show. So yeah. Oh my God,
is that show done yet?
Almost. It's this week's 6, and it's out of 8. So
okay,
it'll be done by the end of the month, I believe.
Gotcha. Wow, that's great though.
But yeah, so they have like this giant. Your obstacle this time is like a giant, fat pig baby in a high chair that's voiced by J.K. Simmons, and it gets weirder, folks. I'm not even getting the weird part. So the giant pig baby essentially is raised and kind of nurtured by this maternal French cow creamer.
Oh, pig baby, you woke the pig baby.
You woke the pig baby.
Oh my God.
And,
I mean, like I said, Dragon, story-wise, we get almost nowhere, but this is a very fun concept.
And here's the thing that really weirds me out about the story. It's just like the whole thing is we have the cook. We're making fun of American cooking compared to the Canadians, I guess. We're just making fun of it, and it's like ultimately they make brownies. I mean, what's so special about Canadian brownies versus just brownies?
I kind of feel like that was a Canada thing that flew over our heads, honestly.
I mean, I guess, but I've never heard of like a
Tim
big
Hortons has like amazing brownies or something. I don't know.
I mean, Tim Hortons does donuts, Tiki. That's what I don't get.
Right.
That's if it was like, hey, we're gonna make donuts. I get it. Then.
Right. Yeah.
Or like donut holes, like Tim Hortons, essentially, like kind of like a donut hole version equivalent of the donut, essentially. But anyway.
Like, is that what Tim Hortons is like? Because I knew it was a coffee place, but is that what their specialty is
I mean, Tiki, I'm going off the Kevin Smith Q&A with my Tim Hortons knowledge. But specifically
donut holes, though.
I mean, all I'm saying is when
I gotta say, if that's the case, that's I like that as like a niche. That's a cool niche.
All I can attribute it to, Tiki, is again the second Kevin Smith evening with guy brought him a whole bunch of Tim Hortons. And when he brought him all those Tim Hortons, they were all like kind of munchkin-y, like the donut hole things. Right. I'm assuming that's essentially what Tim Hortons are. That's my frame of reference.
That was like a good 20-minute. Like that was my first introduction to Tim Hortons, by the way.
So that's my assumption. Is that must be out. That must.
All right. We're spending too much time on Tim Hortons.
Well, there's not a lot to this one.
I know.
Okay, so the point being, it's we like the gravity effect's pretty good, and then the whole idea here is like we have Mingy here going with the whole simple versus the go big or go home attitude of Ryan. Like, hey, let's go big with like these giant ingredients, use up all the butter. They have to use like gross microwave butter, which you
used all of pig baby's butter. Man.
Seriously, it's messed up. Also, I gotta admit, like, okay, so Kez's whole thing about this, trying to hide that because she melted all the butter in the microwave, just hiding the whole thing of like, just call me Lorraine. It's like, kiss me, I'm a chef's hat. And so, the big comparison I had for Kez, by the way, is that she's a lot like 22 from Soul. Did you get that at all?
I could see that, yeah. Right. Which is another animated project that I was underwhelmed by. You opened the door for me there.
Why?
Soul has brilliant moments, but as a film, it doesn't quite do it for me.
America and Canada, come get him, not me. Get him, not me.
I have two things that I don't like about Soul: the ending and the body swap.
Get him.
Those are two big things.
Get him! Get him! Anyway. So the important takeaway, we have to mention the number revelation. So Mingy makes I think the logical. By the way, I really like Mingy as a character. I really enjoyed him. I thought Mingy he makes the logical conclusion that it's Ryan's lesson. Because when the number changes, it must be your lesson. You must have learned something.
But I mean, once again, it's like we have this revelation, and then it's like I almost kind of feel like by the end of the season they just kind of retcon it.
I mean, to be fair, the revelation is like, they're linked, which, I mean, we kind of figure, but we have to confirm it in the next episode. So I don't think it's that much of a retcon. But you're right, we do it's arbitrary, so I can't really diffuse that either. So, all right, so they're back to 202, and the creepiest thing of the episode, we'll move on, okay, after J.K. Simmons saying yummers. Was the whole idea of, like, she's going to serve the pig baby until he dies. Then you'll be the next pig baby.
That is some Miyazaki nightmare fuel right there. That's great.
Right?
All right. Okay, next up, the Astro Cue Car, a.k.a. the episode that makes Tiki sad that Daft Punk broke up for 10 minutes. Seriously, is this not just Daft Punk the episode?
Well, I mean, pretty much. Just Tiki. There's something really big about Invincible I want to tell you in regards to Daft Punk that you're going to love, but I can't.
Okay, well, motherfucker, now I have to go and binge the whole show right now.
Thanks have to. Seriously.
Okay, all right. I'm going to. Okay. After we sign off, I'm legitimately going to. That intrigues me.
You trust me. There's a thing. Just don't expect it from episode 1, but you're going to get there. And it's a great episode. You're gonna love it. And there's a Daft Punk thing you're gonna go crazy for.
Okay. I get that right there. Like that. I mean, I knew I was gonna watch the show eventually, but that sold me watching it now.
It's a one episode thing, but you're gonna love it.
Gotcha. Anyways,
all right.
So Astro Cue Car. Frankly, Dragon, this might be my least favorite episode of the season. Honestly, because I feel like the lesson is kind of like exactly the same lesson that we learned in episode 4, you know, like the 2 different approaches.
I mean, let me put it this way. I think it takes a while to get to the inevitable lesson we're going to get to, and I think that detracts from it for sure. I don't think it's necessarily the same lesson. I think it's like, let me put it this way. I think what you're getting at is that it was so well intimated what the flaw was at the end of last episode, where it was like you saw perfectly in the performance between our two guys here. Like Mingy thinks, "Oh, I forgive you. This is your journey. I just got roped into it, man." And he says, "Oh yeah, sure. I guess it was my problem." Ryan's feeling really self-conscious, really bad about himself right now.
Uh-huh.
So that's really well intimated. This episode kind of drags that revelation out a little bit, with Mingy being a little really high on his own supply, so to speak. He's being real smug about things. He's real cocky.
Sure. I do think that the train itself is another creative train.
Yeah.
You know, of course, as a theme park connoisseur, cues are very much a thing that I can relate to.
I love the revelation that everyone's dead waiting in line.
That is creepy. Yeah.
It's great.
I mean, that's the thing, Dragon. This season has moments of like, ooh, that's disturbing, that's intriguing, but I just, it never comes together into
Let me put
whole.
Let me put it this way. This season doesn't have like a don't kick the toad car, you know, and this is the closest we get to it. So in that, by proxy, I think I like this episode more than you, because I like that we kind of have the heady idea you're waiting in line, and you basically have the revelation that gets you out of it like that. I don't know. I thought it was the most puzzle-like car we got out of the whole thing. I mean, that along with the art one, which we'll get to, I guess, but that's a literal puzzle.
All right.
I love the bouncer. The bouncer comes back. I love how the bouncer's my favorite of any of these characters, by the way. Any of the new guys.
I'm with you. Honestly.
I love this silent Nigel. He's Nigel, the silent bouncer, and he's got a.
I like him mostly because I can just pretend that he's a Daft Punk man, but
I mean, he kind of is with a little light effect.
That's what I'm saying.
And he's got 14 kids. He's got a family of 14. Right. Oh god, so that's just it's a lot of fun. Then here's the disappointing thing. So we had our big cliffhanger. And episode 5 had a if I recall, I think it was episode 5. We had last season. We had the momentous cliffhanger where the big thing happens, Tiki. And this is not that. This is like, hey, everything just stopped for the Stewart.
And then just to transition into episode 6, the party car. We literally do nothing with it.
Okay,
nothing!
To be fair, we do something with it, Tiki. Here's the thing. It's a little subtle, but the idea, we're seeing Amelia take over this season in the background.
Yeah, you're right. That is
so that's really cool. But the problem is, I wanted more. It's a problem when I'm more interested in that than I am the main story.
You want more from it, and I also just feel like it kind of feels detached from what's going on.
It's really interesting, though. We do that in the back. If you told me on paper, in the background of this season, we're gonna show you how Amelia rose to power and like some of the backstory of stuff that's going on the train. That's a great pitch, but did not.
Yeah, but I mean, it just does not have any of the bite of what you just described, even though that is on paper what happens.
I know, right? That's the thing. Like, it sounds like, if I'm to infer, is that Amelia, she convinced the one to, hey, allow them to individualize themselves. And that she's kind of ingratiating herself to one with ideas to the point where she takes over by the end of the season.
Uh-huh.
But not a lot. And basically, it's a story point. We need to give them actual instruments instead of the fake instruments they created last episode, so they can actually go the full circle route. Like, hey, let's see if Mingy's going to take his opportunity for change, which technically he doesn't.
Yeah, and I will admit, this is a pretty good episode. I would say this is probably in my top 5 at least. Because I think it's probably the most relatable episode outside of maybe episode 1, just because, I can totally relate to like being with my friend at a party and just being mad at them that they dragged me to the party, and just stuff like that, just very small moments. And and the fact that Mingy like drops out on Ryan again, that was a good dramatic moment. And frankly, I feel like that makes Mingy a bit of a hypocrite with the big dramatic moment that comes up that really doesn't land with me, but we'll get there.
True. You're not wrong at all about that.
Yeah.
Here, there was a dramatic moment in this episode I felt kind of fell on deaf ears for me. And I wonder if you had the same thing.
Okay.
So in the big kind of bathroom catharsis scene, they're kind of coming together here, and Mingy brings up one of the reasons for his hesitation, where the skepticism about the dream, and that like he bases Ryan, two Asian guys from BC in Chicken Choice Judy. I don't see that. Like, how many guys like us do you see in that being successful in that arena?
Yeah,
I don't think that's earned. I don't think that was established enough as like something on Mingy's mind and like that in the beginnings.
This is going to sound super shallow of me, but like, frankly, as someone who like literally my entire cultural knowledge of Canada comes from Scott Pilgrim, there's at least a couple of kick-ass punk rock Asians in that universe.
And Ryan even brings that up. He brings up YMO. YMO, the electric, it's called the Yellow Magic Orchestra, the electric.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's that we even instantly kind of disprove that. So it's like, why did we bring it up outside of trying to sound a little important? Like, we're basically kind of spelled out the message. Where I mean, that's a good idea, but it just kind of like came up in 5 because
it's the one point in the season where the character's race kind of just like I like the fact that the character's race isn't really important. It's just they just happen to be Asian. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean that's perfectly that's fine. It's just like, plus we have like a little bit of it in the intro, but that's what I'm saying. It's not really like, I don't see it as like a thing holding Mingy back, which we were kind of saying like it was the main reason he didn't go up on stage with him, which I think that's a really big story point to kind of gloss over.
I agree.
So that's why I'm a little split. But I do like the conversation about it, though, is them just kind of getting to a place with each other, and the idea that they got a success by just playing with each other in the bathroom versus like playing in front of the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
Also, how do you feel about Mingy's instrument, by the way, the mini?
I really like it, actually.
Right? Really cool.
Yeah. I actually followed a band that used a toy piano as a main instrument, so it kind of reminded me of that.
I've seen Pete Docter play the toy piano.
Nice. All right, so that leads us into, in my opinion, the only episode in the season that kind of like recaptures the magic of the previous seasons, the art gallery car.
Right. Oh, just a little side note.
Yeah, sorry.
Kez had her big thing with her friends, so we got a little bit of Kez feeling really being really mistreated by her pals, Paco, Brando, Spiceman, Beehive, not who you think they are, and Driveway. And like they're saying, "Oh, Kaz, we expect you to screw up. It's half the fun."
Yeah, I've definitely been that friend in the friend group, and I can relate to that.
Yeah, so again, like that I thought was an interesting thing to do with Kez, but again, I think we just kind of like, we have it there to get sympathy for the end. I'm not sure the dots necessarily connect, but it's an interesting thing to kind of work in there.
Sure. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So, art gallery car. Are you in agreement with me? This is the best.
I think it's probably the most impressive, along with the first episode for me.
I agree. Those two are the ones that stood out.
But again, even for things you mentioned, I think the tail end of it and certain aspects maybe drag it down a little bit.
That's unfortunate. The tail end of it is unfortunate, and we'll get there. But
so, I mean, those aspects, that are the only reason I can't say authoritatively it's the best, because I think episode 1, I think, is a little bit more well-rounded. But you're right, though. I think it has the coolest image in it, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, let's just get right to that. The Shadow Hand monster. I mean, goddamn.
I'll admit, instantly, that is the coolest thing in the season, hands down, pun intended. It's awesome. The hand monster is awesome. It's got a great scary. I love the face made of hands.
Right.
It's like this thing is walked out of that scene from Doctor Strange.
At first, I was like, oh, God, what is that thing? And then I'm like, oh, God, it's all hands.
And again, it's hands for like the I think there are numbers on the hands. I don't even know how that works. I don't know how it's possible, but it's like I think it's like I think the idea is like taking the demons, like the shadows and demons, and like of each of the passengers, hence the numbers. Like their numbers are what's holding them back. So it's like that's what this representation of. I think that's the idea. I'm not sure. It's creepy as all get out. It looks like a walk down a Doctor Strange.
Totally,
that one,
totally.
the infinite hand scene in Doctor Strange.
Yes.
I mean, here's the thing, though. This is what I want to know how you feel about it. The only thing that really takes me out of the episode is as cool as an idea and as cool a concept and as cool a payoff as all that is. It just really came out of nowhere, and I know it's part of the car, I guess. But like later on, we said like, oh, I guess the car didn't mess with us as much as we thought we did. Where they're like, Mingy is out of the blue says, "Leave me alone. I want to be alone." And it's like we're starting the riff again after they were bonding last episode. I don't know. It felt a little abrupt.
I mean, I feel like that was the art gallery taking effect.
I mean, it has to be to make sense, right?
Yeah. I mean, I get you. It did feel abrupt, but I feel like the point was that it was abrupt.
True.
And then, I mean, I hear you, dude. Like, I am not going to argue that this is anywhere close to a high point of, like, a season 3 high point. You know, nowhere near that, but... I mean, look, I just want to rewatch season 3 now.
I mean, I can get behind the idea that the issues still exist even though they had a moment. That's basically the point of all this. Is like we haven't fixed anything, and but it's just it feels like hey, we're hashing this out. Like we hash it out between this episode and the next episode, and I kind of wish we just got all in one episode where we just hash it out, then we can move on after we've kind of built it. Well, you want to do this, like just move all this to the next episode almost. But then again, I want the hand monsters, so you kind of need them both.
All right. Anything else with this?
So just talking about like the big payoff. Also, I love the puzzle. I love the whole headphone puzzle thing that gets him out of there. That's cool, but I'd call utter BS. And when I was watching for the first time, that is total BS. Where we have like the portal to get out of there, and the portal home shows up. Like basically, Ryan's number goes completely down. The portal shows up. He has the opportunity to go home. He refuses to take it. But just the fact that he walks out of there after solving that puzzle, and Mingy couldn't have just looked to his left. He couldn't have just like that. That's why it's not Mingy. It's not Ryan's fault because he couldn't look to his left because he was all despondent. Like
no, and this I really yeah.
It's BS, right? It's not great.
It's huge BS, and I really did not like Mingy. Like, Mingy as a character, I feel like was okay. I connected with Ryan a lot more. And honestly, this moment is kind of why. Yeah, there's a couple things wrong with this. First of all, like you said, I feel like there's, like, not even in the way they frame it, does it feel like they could, does it feel like they, like, Mingy could actually mistake that for him just intentionally leaving him, And then also, like I said, Dragon, I feel just switch the characters and this would be more potent because it's Mingy who's the one who has a past history of abandoning Ryan and not the other way around. And that's a big thing that bothers me about all this, Dragon. And then you see Ryan make a big self-sacrifice of not going through the door, and Mingy is automatically like, oh, why, you left me behind. It's like, no, we didn't. He very clearly did it, and I know you didn't see the door, but still, it's like, as an audience member, it's just frustrating.
That it is, and I agree. There's a lot of hypocrisy at play there with Mingy, which again, I really like that character at the start of things. Does complicate matters a little bit. I mean, I think we're trying to give like a part of me would like to think we're kind of showing the other's perspective. I think that's what we're trying to do, perhaps. But I don't think it lands. I think we're just trying to show Ryan how. But then again, that's the thing. If you really think about it, it just does not make any sense because Ryan feels abandoned. So yeah, it's not really much of a point. I agree.
Yeah. All right. I agree. Okay, and like I said, it's like they act like the ending is like some big dramatic moment where Mingy's got like the tears in his eyes and everything. But like, again with the book 3 comparisons, but after the ending of several book 3 episodes ripped my soul in half. I just was not buying it.
That's the interesting thing, Tiki. So rarely do we have this in animation. So I mean, I guess it's a feather in the cap. Where I love the performance, but I think the logic of the scene's not really there. I mean, that's where the drama is. It's a great dramatic thing in terms of the performance, but
Right.
yeah, the writing, it's not really there. It's if they're actual actors. Like obviously the voice performance is going to, but it's archives. Like, and these guys are acting the heck out of this scene.
Mm-hmm. All right, so that leads us into the Mega Maze car, which I was, judging by the title, I was kind of expecting this to be like the misleading like super light title that actually ends up being super heroine, but it's not. It's not.
Oh, we
don't get that episode. Yeah.
We have Honeybee in the comments.
Honeybee, we are on the Mega Maze car, as you can see on the image there.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So we're going to Kez's place.
Yeah, and like I said, the more I think about it, the fact that this whole season is just a road trip, just again for a cool down season from season 3, it's fine, but as a final season, not so much.
And again, I kind of leaned on the whole Null revenge team up being a cool idea. I mean, ultimately, because we haven't done it before, mainly. I like the idea of the maze. By the way, I like the maze being. Oh, here's a pet peeve though. Have you noticed that this season we kind of break the rules of the episode titles, where it's like, hey, it's the maze car. No, you're in the same car. Okay, there's the maze.
Oh, there is some Inception level like cars within cars going on here. Yeah,
right?
For sure. Yeah.
But I mean, I love in using the maze. I love it's a parallel for trying to figure out your life and the way home. That whole thing. We're trying to figure out how to get to the castle. In this case, we're trying to also figure out how we can piece our relationship back together, so to speak. That's nice.
All right, but yeah, I mean, not a ton going on in this one outside of the angry mob thing.
Which a pig toddler. He's grown up.
Oh my god.
Yeah, pig toddler. It was kind of a big moment. Like, oh my god, the pig toddler, because he lost the creamer. The creamer got turned into like the makings of cream. Got reversed in time. lost his creamer French creamer cow mother figure and is on a tear, squishing the eyeball guys, and then going after the butterfly by eating like Jaws. He eats the judge. It's crazy. I love the bouncer solution. That's hilarious. I love the thing with the bouncer where they trip the bouncer with the same exact thing again. Right. But again, they're not wearing the disguises like the mustache and the mohawk this time. It's like, hey, we're the band, and it just works wonders. I love this bouncer, man. It's great.
Okay, so really quick from Honeybee, they say just wait 5 years till we get Infinity Train Distant Cars. I like that title. And Honeybee, I think you might have mentioned it, but we said off top. I mean, it kind of goes without saying, right? But like, if this really this can't be the end. As a fan of this show, as a fan of animation in general, I refuse to believe that that this is the last that we're ever going to see of this show. There's this show has way too much potential and way too much of a fan base for either HBO to not see the error of their ways or for another network to pick it up. So yeah. Anyways, then they also say pig toddler is cursed, which I very much agree with.
Well, we know it's destined to die and be replaced. Of course it's cursed. Right.
Oh god. I'd like to think it's just bouncer code of honor.
Yeah. Oh, it's great. So importantly, the boys find catharsis. They're in a good place at the end of this one. They've kind of seen. They kind of realize they're kind of a binary compound to unlocking their destiny, so to speak.
All right. So the next one is episode 9 of the Castle Car. So we get the review. This is the most reveals that we get in the season, and they're all interesting. The reveals are interesting. I just don't feel like they have a lot of dramatic, on paper, they should be dramatic, but I just don't really feel like they are. And I don't really know. I can't put my finger on what the missing ingredient is here, besides maybe it's just the fact that I don't care for Kez as much as I've.
Well, we know what the missing ingredient is, Tiki.
What?
Butter.
I knew you were going to go there.
No, but you're right. Yeah, there is. I agree that given the last two episodes, I did feel there was an element missing from it. There's
I
just
mean,
was the
I have
spark
a
was not
major
there.
problem with how we end, but we'll build to that.
Just it was just the magic was kind of missing for like I wasn't like look at just season 2 because we can't just keep going to season 3. That's an easy like out. Like season 3 did it better, but let's just season 2. There was a build to like the realization. Oh my God, are we gonna is MT gonna get out? Is she gonna find a way
Right.
out before it's
Right.
too
Like,
late?
yeah, like Jesse getting out of the train, like that was a huge, like, oh, holy shit moment. And there was no moment like that.
Yeah, we did not quite have that. We didn't have
Mhm.
much. We had a little bit of tension, but nowhere near as heavy.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, so we Morgan is a castle. I don't mean the castle. I mean Morgan literally is the castle.
So, like, on paper, I feel like this should be more intriguing than it actually is.
Yes. I here's the thing. I think the revelation is what hurts it. In that Kez basically is actually helps people as a null when we didn't really expect that. That's not much of a revelation. Nulls help people. Okay, that's kind of what we've seen for 3
You
seasons
don't
now.
say. Right.
It's just a little like water is wet. I mean,
Yeah, yeah. Oh, man.
so this Jeremy guy, he was the guy in the photo, so we learned that poor Jeremy. I want to know more about this Jeremy character, honestly. Jeremy, he lost his mother and his sister in
I
a car
honestly
accident.
feel, Dragon, why couldn't the whole season have just been the Jeremy story? I honestly feel like that would have been
Nothing
a
against the
fucking good
boys, but
season.
yeah. Nothing
Yeah.
against the boys because they're compelling. But again, I feel honestly, you know what it feels like? Does it? I'm just happening on this now, Tiggy. Do you think the boys got too much story this season? Do you think we just maybe like their
Well, I
story
mean,
just
like I
doesn't?
said, I do think that our two leads, it is very much the biggest ratio where it leans more towards the human side than it does the train side, I think.
Yeah, but I kind of feel like we can only rehash the same problem so many times,
Mhm.
in part, if that makes any sense.
All right. Honeybee says I thought Kez was going to be evil, and I guess I was like 10% right, and that's the problem,
Kez had
honestly.
an agenda. Kez was going to basically replace Jeremy with him and basically trap
Yeah.
him there for probably 5 years at
I'm
least.
going to be honest with you. I like that wasn't even a reveal to me. Like they played up the whole like, oh, Kez is a compulsive liar. Kez is unrelated. It's like you knew she was up to something, and honestly, what she was up to was not really that big of a deal. I mean, it certainly wasn't a life-threatening situation she was putting them in or anything.
Okay, so two things. One, Honeybee says this season was good, but my least favorite. Yeah, that's pretty much how we're feeling.
Oh yeah,
Honeybee.
oh yeah. I feel like I would honestly be I would honestly be surprised if many people like rank this above their least favorite season in the series.
yeah. But honestly, I think where we're going with Kez, I think the whole point behind the Kez thing, these last 2 episodes, was that Kez has an empathy problem.
Yeah,
That's the way I read it. That she never apologizes for things.
but Dragon, I feel like they switched that, like, because don't you feel like the compulsive liar thing was more the direction that they were headed with?
I
Like,
mean,
I honestly feel like they switched gears with that, like halfway through.
the liar thing was more so she just didn't share that. It's again to that whole like liar, like kind of the specificity of like it's kind of like a lie by omission thing. So I didn't really think compulsive liar because of that. But I can see that line of thinking. Sure, I just felt it more like. Honestly, by 9, it seemed to me like I love that the whole lesson is a very Canadian lesson. It's the whole like you have to, you never say you're sorry.
Oh God. You say Canadian, I say Steven Universe. It's a very Steven Universe lesson, and Steven Universe.
I think it's more a Steven Universe solution than it is a lesson, Tiki. But yeah,
sure, and we'll get to the very, very, very Steven Universe solution when we get to it. But anyways,
yeah. But yeah, I just seems like I think unfortunately it's like I think it's an interesting idea to address in real life. There are people who just have an empathy problem. We've seen this, and that's an interesting concept. But don't give me that like the last 2 episodes, man.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
Like, don't just squeeze that in there. That's an interesting idea.
Yeah, and I feel like they could have gone a lot. Like honestly, like I don't really buy the fact that she has an empathy problem just because she was genuinely concerned with our 2 leads throughout the journey.
Yeah, you're right. It's not. I don't know. It just doesn't. Yeah, you're right. It doesn't even connect in that
Yeah,
sense. Yeah.
yeah. Oh God, Honeybee, the lack of murder was a bit disappointing.
Well, man,
Honeybee,
we called those guys corpses for the
I
whole
mean, Honeybee.
season.
Honestly, you're not wrong. You are not wrong.
And we called them corpses this whole season. They both lived. This is an outrage. We're a bloodthirsty group. Anyway,
I'm
also I
just
love
saying, Tuba is like definitive. I used to think that Stoic was the new Mufasa, but no, Tuba is the new Mufasa.
100%. My God, seriously, Tuba's death. That's the haunt. That's and again right at the halfway point too. Is perfect. Oh
Right.
God. Also, Jeremy, a lot of hats. The hats thing was funny. And so many hats.
All right, but yeah, with Jeremy, it was intriguing. But like I said, I really do feel like it was like a taste of a more interesting story than the one we were telling.
Again, the last I kind of teed this up earlier. The Stewart. We have the big reveal that Amelia took over the Stewart. It seems. Now you're all on your own now, and like unhooks like the boot thing, so you're free to roam.
Uh-huh. All right, so that leads us into episode 10, The Train to Nowhere.
This is a clever title. I got on that.
It's a very accurate title because not much happens.
I was thinking more of the song, but sure, Mr. Snippy.
I mean,
show
really,
a little compassion,
Dragon,
man. If they're not coming back, show them a little compassion.
Once again, book 3, we literally have one lead character killing the other lead character in self-defense. Book 4, let's hug it out.
Okay, on that line of thought, on that train of thought, one might say, we have 2 comments. I think you're going to speak to your points. The second one more so, but the first one because it's hats.
Uh-huh.
White Despair, Black Hope says the hats thing was indeed funny, and then Bionic Prime. I like the season, but I was
like
a bit.
the butt cluck avatar, by the way.
Says I like the season, but I was a bit disappointed the season didn't push itself tone wise or even story wise compared to the last 3. I felt like it was playing it too safe. Yeah, Bionic Prime, you can't speak my language.
Diet Coke Infinity Train. Diet Coke Infinity Train.
Well, I don't know if it's literally Infinity Train. I don't know if we can call it Diet Coke Infinity Train.
No, I'm saying it felt like it felt watered down.
There you go.
But all right, yeah, I have a huge problem with the Steven Universe ending, Dragon. That was the moment where I was like, okay, like honestly, like I said, a lot of the stuff with our 2 leads, I could. As someone, entering my 30s with not a ton of direction still in my life, I did very much relate to it. But man, when we got to that Steven Universe ending, I went from just kind of accepting this season as like, all right, I get that this is a cool down from season 3, and it's unfortunate that this was the last season, to genuinely, I think that Steven Universe ending was a load of crap, honestly.
Well, be specific. Which, because there's a couple endings with Steven Universe these days.
The apology thing.
Well, no, I mean I know in this episode it's the apology. It's me in general with Steven Universe. You mean like the movie, the future? Or you mean the actual?
To me, the apology thing felt like kind of like a less egregious version of the future finale.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, the future finale is hella cringe, but.
Yeah, but I feel the connecting moral is supposed to be closure, in that Kez apologizes for the Knowles that she wronged, and I it's nowhere near as good as the other 3, but I love there is like a ticking clock tension of, oh God, are they going to get out of there before the portal goes away or before the whole place comes around them, and they're not going to leave without the other persons. That was kind of them rocking out together like in unison. That was kind of nice. I liked about it, but you're right. The Kez just like, I'm sorry, and at least we have one character. At least the Margaret Martindale butterfly characters is like, they ain't gonna cut it.
right.
So at least
it's not just that she says she's sorry, but it literally leads to a whole Steven Universe love fest of them all apologizing to each other, and I'm just like, really? That's where we're going? All right.
Yep.
But yeah, I do agree. Like, this whole season kind of gives off some very Scott Pilgrim vibes with like the Rock and Roll Canada thing, but
So
Yeah,
something
go ahead.
I was going to guess like the code at the end of it, but
Uh-huh. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah. So something we rarely see, like the closest we've ever seen to this, really was the end of season 2, and that was more like just like really catching your breath, like a heartbeat after where we just saw. But we get to see like a little time later, we get to see the people off the train actually adjusting to the lesson.
Mm-hmm.
So the boys are in Utica, New York. Chicken Choice Judy, they're performing in a New York nightclub. Man, that's
Yeah.
everything. And
I mean, it's a nice ending, but it's certainly no. Oh God, Dragon! Just this whole podcast, just make a drinking game out of how many times I say it's certainly no book 3. Honestly,
I do like though. I like that the song itself is "Train to Nowhere." It's a cute little ref. Oh, they learned a lot from that train. Not that I saw, but they learned a lot from that train.
Oh God, Honeybee is very murder happy. They it would have been cool if all the villains killed each other.
I mean, yeah, I mean that'd be interesting, man.
It would have been, honestly.
Well, technically, remember, here's the thing. A part of me is kind of just. I'm honestly,
or
I'm
if toddler, if pig toddler just eats all of them.
Well, that's the thing. I was kind of disappointed that because I was so like kind of caught up in it. Like, oh my god, pig toddler just ate Judge Morpho. Just ate the Margaret Martindale butterfly. That was really
fine.
bold.
That's
what I'm saying. That's a cheat, man. Come on.
It is. I mean, after book 2 made a huge deal about violently killing off an antagonist,
Yep, and it was really.
See, I can make a comparison to something besides book 3. All right. Anyways.
Yep.
All right, Dragon. I think let's just give our final thoughts, man. This is kind of bittersweet, dude.
Yeah, let's. So I look just in general, like kind of thoughts on the thing as a whole. I guess I love Infinity Train as a conceit. I think the conceit's great. I've always been a really big proponent of the show in general. I've had a great fondness for it. It's a bittersweet end, not a terrible end by any stretch, not truly a bad end, just bittersweet. That's the best way I could sum it up. I was pulling forward to get 8 seasons just for the novelty of they wanted 8 seasons because it makes the Infinity logo, which is so delightfully charming. And again, it's a show that could go on forever technically because of the infinite quality of the show, and I could absolutely see it going 8 seasons, no problem. And again, this would be like a fun, like okay, it's a whole, you're holding over till you get to the really good stuff in the next half. But apparently it was kind of the writing was somewhat on the wall, where the crew was laid off and HBO Max, assumedly, they got skittish after how bold season 3 was. Assumedly.
Oh, so it's HBO's fault. Fuck.
The show's creator assumed that. The show's creator suggested he thinks maybe they were a little scared off by season 3.
Like, is it their fault that this feels like a Diet Coke Infinity Train?
I don't know if I'd go that far with it. I don't know. All I can say is like they were already they knew they probably weren't looking at a season 5 after they made the season because our crew's been kind of or we've lost our crew and I don't think we're going to be able to get them back for season 5 because HBO, I don't know, things are going on. But yeah, overall, again, good season, not the strongest narratively. A lot of potential though. Had a lot of potential. And look, I want to be clear. I don't want anyone going away from this like, oh man, they should never try something like this again. No, guys, it was not a mistake to go intimate and ambitious. It's never a mistake to try to go ambitious, but I just wish the landing stuck more with the stuff they kind of teed up, with the construction of the story. Had the story landed, I think the season really could have been something special. Not as special as 3, but could have been special. Let's be honest.
Yeah. Final thoughts for me. I mean, like really, if you look at this as like the halfway point in an 8-part saga, I really do think tonally it would land. It would land a lot better if we knew there was more coming, because this is genuinely a great kind of cool down season from season 3. I said it before, I'll say it again. Season 3 ripped my soul in half. On some level, because I have been dealing with some shit this week, I was honestly kind of relieved that this season wasn't as emotionally intense. But, and like I said, I will leave it at this, just simply enough, this can't be the end. I refuse to believe it. I genuinely refuse to believe it. This show, and I'll echo your sentiments, I absolutely do not blame the writing staff at all. I mean, I do think this season could have had more bite to it. I do think that the logic of the numbers gets a little wonky, and we mentioned kind of like the Inception sort of car within a car thing. And those are all small issues. Generally speaking, I do really, Dragon, at the end of the day, my biggest umbrage with this whole season is the Steven Universe thing at the end. Yeah, I really do think it's, look, if HBO didn't want to take, have the balls with this show, they really shouldn't have even picked it up. I don't know. I just feel like book 3 to me is just a masterpiece. It really is genuinely one of the best seasons of television. I mean, not even animation, just television. Like, there are so many moments in book 3 that just vividly stick out in my mind. So I just don't know what HBO was really thinking or expecting, and God, please give it to Netflix.
But that's the frustrating thing, Tiki, because HBO Max technically made all 4 of the seasons happen, technically.
Yeah.
They were producing even before it officially was on HBO Max. It was an HBO Max production. It's crazy.
Just give it to Netflix. I mean, Netflix needs a cerebral adult animated show after BoJack, and yeah, I do honestly think like after season 3, this show does kind of lead a little bit more on the adult side of things. So yeah, I don't know. This can't be the end, man. That's all I gotta say.
Yep.
All right. Pig Baby wants more Infinity Train.
Yummers.
We
love you, Owen Dennis. We miss you.
Pig Baby wants pictures of Spider-Man.